Hello there, and thank you for choosing to watch Money Monday this morning with me, Wamboi Ngatia. Now, over a week ago, the prices of fuel historically went up, and Kenyan businessman and political strategist Jimmy Wanjigi has called this, and I quote it, he has called it the highest shame on earth. Now, paint prices also is likely to rise by 7%, since paint makers are the biggest users of kerosene. Now, where is our country headed? Now, this has affected the economy of Kenya in various ways. Now, let's start by listening to Kenyans' take on the fuel prices increase. Let's start with Meru.
Kutoka Meru hadi Nairobi, na sasa naona tunafinyiriwa sababu ya bei ya mafuta kupanda. Sasa tunaomba serikali iteremshie mafuta, sababu sasa ikiendelea hivyo hata fare yenyewe itapanda, na ikipanda mwananchi wa kawaida ndiye anaumia. Sasa tunaomba serikali kama itawezekana iteremshie bei ya mafuta ianze kupanda kila wakati vile inapanda.
Tuteremshiwe mafuta kwa sababu mafuta ikipanda kila kitu kimepanda. Everything lazima kiwe kimepanda. Biashara zote zimeharibika kwa sababu ya mafuta. Kwa hivyo tuteremshiwe mafuta kwa sababu hata mafuta ikipanda hata abiria wapandishiwi pesa. Kwa hivyo watu wa matatu wameumia sana, hata kama sienda sahihi asiendangi. Ndio tunasema mafuta iteremshwe kidogo na serikali yetu ya Kenya.
Mimi ni abiria, nataka kuteremka Ngombe sahihi. Sasa hawa kama mafuta imepanda wataongezea nini nauri, na sisi kama abiria hatutaweza hiyo nauri. Kwa hivyo naomba serikali ifunguze kidogo, ikiwafunguzia bei nao watatufunguzia.
Tunalia huku, tunakufa huku, hata watoto wetu wako nyumbani kwa kufukuzwa kwa fee. Tunataka mtusaidie njoo hata fare hatuoni, tunalipwa fare mingi. Na tulikuwa tunajua ati fare ni kama kawaida tunalipanga 50, lakini sasa hii kulingana na mafuta vyenye imepanda hatuoni fare. Tafadhali tusaidieni.
Sasa tujui tuanzie wapi, tuende wapi, wenye gari wanataka pesa. So at least serikali tusikiza kidogo, at least iteremshe hiyo bei ya mafuta njoo hatuna, otherwise tuna gari kidogo hapa zinaitwa Sienta, ni kama haziko kazi saa hii kulingana na bei ya mafuta.
These are Kenyans in Meru County who are actually, giving their opinions about the fuel increase in Kenya. And I am joined by an amazing guest in studio whose name is Kamau, and he's actually going to introduce himself to us to help me discuss what is the effect, of fuel prices increase in our economy in Kenya. Karibu sana to the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Kindly introduce yourself and what you do.
Okay, my name is Samuel Kamau. I'm a financial analyst.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So I'm sure you've seen the clip by Kenyans in Meru talking about, especially the drivers and the passengers, talking about the hike in transportation and all that. What's your take on this?
It is a worrying trend. How Kenya increased the price of fuel, having in mind that we are still in the pandemic, and where most of the Kenyans are being subjected to the high cost of living, either because of the loss of jobs and other factors. And if you look at how the government increased the price of fuel lately, it is a worrying. It has never been to that high.
Yeah,
ever.
They say it's historical.
Yeah. And one of the factors that led to that high increase in prices of oil is because the government didn't use the stabilization fund. In the budget of 2021 estimates, the government proposed that they come up with a fund to stabilize the prices of fuel. That is, they referred it as the stabilization fund, where when the prices of fuel increases, now they can pay the retailers so that now they can quote lower prices. But this time around, it never happened. Yes.
And I remember back in 2018, the president, while he was giving his speech, because we have had the same trend of fuel increasing, just that this time it has been, historical. But the president in his speech, he said that fuel prices will not increase again. And now here is 2021 and the prices of fuel have increased. What is happening?
Okay, that was the president talking, but there are so many other factors that come into play. If you look at the budget that was read in June, we have a budget of 3 trillion shillings. But if you look at the revenue the government collects, it's about 1 trillion. And as an analyst, you can ask yourself, we have a very bloated budget, but we don't have the revenues to cater for the budget. Mostly the government now they don't have another option, because the revenue the government gets is from the taxes. So they didn't have a choice except to raise the taxes. And one of the taxes that was raised is in the fuel. We have never had such a, okay, if you look at the cost of fuel when it relates to the port, it is very low. But if you look at the taxes that are incorporated in there, they almost form almost 40 to 50% of the taxes. Yes. So the president may promise Kenyans, but there are other factors that come into play. So we cannot just look at the president talking, because now there are other policies in between. There is Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Agency, which comes now with the pricing of the fuel. Then we also have, if you remember well, in 2013 in the VAT bill, they proposed an increase in the VAT of fuel, 16%. But now Parliament, they reduced the VAT to 8%. Yeah. But now if you look at other taxes that are in the prices of fuel, there are so many other taxes that are there. So we cannot just blame the president, because he was just talking because that is his work. But there are other technocrats that have to come to think about how the Kenya is going to run. Yes.
Do you think they have increased, the price of fuel to get to, their target of the 3 trillion, which we do not have it as a country right now?
If you recall, when they are granting the loan, was to charge VAT on the fuel products. So there are so many factors that come into play. And recently we have seen the government having a high appetite to get revenue through taxes. And that is why we have seen the citizens in the different parts of the country complaining about the fuel. I can say that it is one of the ways to bridge the gap against the deficit of the 3 trillion budget. Yes.
And why is it that, maybe just to make a Kenyan understand outside there, fuel prices, or rather fuel taxes, we could say?
In fact, there are many taxes in fuel.
Yeah.
There are almost around 9 taxes. Now, one is the excise duty that they pay at the port when you import goods. That is one. The second one is the road maintenance levy. Then we have another one by EPRA, that is the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, the one that they refer to as the Petroleum Development Levy and the Petroleum Regulatory Levy. So you see there are so many other. Then we have something else they refer to as the Railway Development Levy. Then we have the VAT. We have the Anti-Adulteration Levy. We have the import declaration fee, then merchant shipping levy. So you see, all those are taxes that are imposed on fuel. So even if the fuel is cheap when it comes to the port of Mombasa, once you include all those taxes and levies, now the price shoots up. Yes.
So what happens to, the common mwananchi? Because fuel is something we cannot do without as a country, because transportation and all that, everything revolves around the same. When people are going to their offices everywhere, you use a fuel. What happens? Because it's not like a bread.
Yes, yes.
You can decide to use an arrowroot or something else. we need to use fuel as a country. What happens to us?
Okay, economically, fuel is it's referred to as a normal good in the subclass of necessities. A necessity is something that you cannot live without. And when the prices of fuel increased, we saw that there was reduced traffic on the roads for 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
But what happened next? The vehicles came back to the roads.
We got used to it.
Yes. Why? Because even if you increase the prices of fuel, people have to go to work, people have to go to jobs, but because having fuel as a necessity, it means that it doesn't have a substitute. In Kenya, we use automobiles. Mm-hmm. All those vehicles use fuel. But now you cannot say that since the price of fare increased, you cannot go to work. You will have to go to work. And since we don't have any substitute to fuel, that is why now we have to live with the necessary evil. It is a necessary evil. Even if the prices hike, we are still going to be using the fuel. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you know, this is really a key indicator on, you know, the cost of living, and it could easily put pressure on the price of commodities. Do you think this thing will cause inflation? Because data from the National Bureau of Statistics, in August, showed higher prices of selected food items pushed to an inflation of 6.67%. That was in August. Compared to July, which was at 6.65%. Now we are in September. What happens? Is this going to cause inflation? What next?
Fuel being a driver in the economy and having increased the price of the fuel, definitely it will have an impact on the inflation. Inflation we refer to as the general persistent increase of prices of goods and services.
Yeah.
If you look at the manufacturing industry that we have, most of them use fuel and electricity to produce those goods. What will happen now to them? Because now since we have the fuel have increased, it means that the revenue will be reduced. Now for them to recover the cost of production, they are going to pass the increase on the fuel to their commodities. So the consumers will end up spending more on the goods that they were using. So it means that definitely it will cause inflation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because as you have said, that right now the cost of inflation is about 6.6%.
Yes.
And I guess the cap is 7.5%. Mm-hmm. So if it goes on rising, yeah, it will get to a point where now the consumers will say, now we are tired.
We're tired.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go to the cost of living. I have a clip of some of the people in the business industry talking about how much their business is going to be affected. Not only in the transportation sector, but also even in the food sector. Let's have that clip and then you tell us what's your take on that.
Mimi nimeshindwa nitafanya nini? Juu akipandisha mafuta ni kutumisa kabisa. Na ni kila mtu, hata ule ako kwa ofisi juu anatoka kwao na gari. Hata ule ako karibu anatuumisa na kuendea hii mizigo. So hatujui kama tutaweza hii biashara.
Kufanya kazi unaweka patia mwenyewe pesa, unajaza gari mafuta, jioni unaenda bila mshahara.
Mafuta kwa siku naweka ya shilingi 500 ndio natumia siku moja. Sasa venye imepanda kumaanisha inatakana niweke kama mafuta ya shilingi 800. Na hiyo 800 sasa hakuna kazi yenye italeta hiyo pesa kwa sababu customer haezi elewa kwamba mafuta imepanda.
Kama mimi mpishi, unga ya ngano itapanda, mafuta ya kupika, makaa, kila kitu itakuwa imepanda.
Asubuhi natumia fare, jioni natumia fare. Sasa ukiangalia biashara ni baya, hakuna biashara imeisha. Juu ya hii COVID imekuja.
Hapo zatoboa kweli. Hapa ni kunyanyasa, tunanyanyasa jamii.
Kwa soko ubebe mzigo kidogo. Kama ulikuwa unabeba gunia moja, ubebe nusu ndio uweze kulipa hiyo. Sasa na unaona vile wako na shida, utawaongezea wafanye nini? Na wako na shida kama wewe au mimi.
Then what I have to do, I have to cut on expenses at home. So the feeding will be affected and even transport for our children you'll be affected. So it will really affect us in terms of finances.
Welcome back. Now, before we went for a break, and just to remind you, you can always send us your opinions and what you think about, fuel prices increase in our country. You can always text us on our Facebook platform, DigiTV Kenya, on YouTube, DigiTV Kenya, on Twitter at DigiTV KE, and the SMS line to use is 0791 300 105, 0791 300 105. Now, before we went for a break, we have seen a clip of some business people, talking about how fuel prices increase has affected their businesses. Somebody in the food industry and the cereals and all that. And we have seen them, complaining and talking about businesses going down due to the fuel prices increase. Now, Kamau, what do you think, what is the effect of fuel prices in other businesses? Because maybe somebody is thinking it's just fuel, but from what the women are saying, I think you've seen somebody selling actually food. They're saying unga prices will go high and all that, the maize flour, because they are using transportation actually to bring them to where they are. Mm-hmm.
As I had said earlier, fuel is the driver of the economy. And if you get into the details of how the common mwananchi is going to be affected, is that almost everything will go up. Because if the mama mboga who is having a grocery shop is sourcing for goods from the farms, let's say they are based in Nairobi, and they are sourcing for the greens from Nyeri, you see the cost of transport will go up.
Yeah.
So it means the margins, they are going to shrink. So what will happen at the end? Because mama mboga has to sustain the business.
Yeah.
So he is going to pass the high cost of transport to the consumer. If a cabbage was retailing at 50 shillings, it has now to go up. So that now the mama mboga can at least make a living out of the business. So it is going to affect the whole industry in terms of the consumer goods. If you look at maybe like the flour for ugali, definitely it will maybe change with a very little margin. Why? Because the manufacturer is going to use a lot of fuel, and fuel will have a direct impact on electricity. When electricity bills go up, the manufacturer will have now the reduced margin. So they will have to do something to their products. So they're going to pass that cost of production to the consumer. So definitely all the prices will go up for the goods. Yes.
And of course, on the electricity part, we saw, KPLC the other day increasing, electricity nowadays, the tokens and all that, it's not the same pricing. Do you think it will go up yet again?
Definitely it will go up.
Yet again?
Yes, because electricity, if you buy your tokens and you get that message from KPLC,
yes.
If you look at the components of the taxes, there is energy charge and there is also something to do with the fuel charge somewhere. So it have a direct impact on the cost of electricity. So electricity will definitely go up. Yes.
Does it mean that now employers should consider like increasing the salary of their employees? Because I am just thinking, what happens? I mean, I am receiving the same salary. We are talking about the common mwananchi receiving the same salary, but the cost of living has really gone up. Yes. Because I remember before we started with a clip of people in Meru, and there was a woman who was saying we do not have school fees.
True.
Because it's the same salary that she has been getting all through, but now the cost of living has gone up.
For the employers to increase the salaries, that is another thing, that is a new different thing.
Right.
Because it will depend on the employer and how there's a contract, there's a way that there is a mutual agreement between you and the employer.
Yes.
So maybe the employer cannot be able to cushion you, or maybe by increasing your salary, because the same employer is also operating in the same economy where there are hardships.
Right.
If the employer is also paying electricity bills, it will also depend in the sector of the economy the employer is operating. If it's a manufacturing firm, definitely I don't think there's going to be a rise in your salaries. In fact, probably it's going even to reduce. Yes,
right?
because
how about the government? Because they are the same people who are increasing the salary. Because Kenyans want solutions.
Yes.
And the government is involved in increasing the prices and all that. How about maybe talking about the government employees? Is there any possibility as an analyst?
For the government employees, okay. If we go back to the budget, if you look at the Kenyan budget, most of it, maybe let's say 75 to 80% of it is a recurrent expenditure, meaning that that money is used by the government either to pay its workers for its operations and to run the government itself. So here to cushion the common mwananchi, I don't think the government has any say. Okay, what can happen is, because everything rolls back to the government through the National Assembly, that is the parliament, to come up with policies that can be able to cushion the Kenyans from the high cost of living. If you remember well that it is the parliament, the same parliament that passed the VAT bill to tax the fuel products, the 16%, although now they reduced it to 8% from 16%. So right now we are only going to talk about the policies, only the policies that can be able to help the common mwananchi. But if you look at our members of parliament, those people, it's like they are already rich. So even if we increase the prices of fuel, they will not have much effect on them.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay. How is this going to affect the foreign investments, And of course, the businesses, the importation and exportation of, goods in and out of the country?
It is going to have an effect. For example, if we have foreign investors coming to Kenya, they're going to shy away, because for us to get foreign investments, we have to have a level playground in terms of the business environment. We don't need to have so much cost in terms of production, so that now we can be able to attract the foreign investors. If we increase the cost of production, that is the cost of electricity, the cost of fuel, foreign investors, they are going to shy away. They are going to look for other countries where they are going to establish their businesses. Yes.
So we might have a reduction of the same.
Yes.
In the country.
Yes.
Wow. Does that mean there are people who are going to lose their jobs? Because there are people who are actually have their jobs because there are people investing in those businesses.
Yeah, true. Definitely, when a foreign investor comes into the country, he is going to get his labor from the Kenyans.
The people within the country, yeah.
So what happens is that once they shy away or they close their businesses to go to other countries, definitely our people will lose their jobs. Yes.
What happens when people lose their jobs? That's why we are getting a lot of insecurities in our country. People trying to earn a living out of, robbing. The other day we had an OCPD in Mombasa being robbed a pistol, So are these some of the things happening out of unemployment to our Kenyans and of course, especially the youths?
That is one of the impact or the effects of unemployment. Because if you look at the Kenyan population, almost 70% are the young people. And if you leave the young people to be jobless, what are they going to do? Because those are people with energy. They have to engage themselves, they have to keep themselves busy. And this time, of course, they are going to turn up in the negative social effects. So that is why we'll see young people robbing, so much insecurity in our country. Because these people, they want to do something. And also they also want to make a living. But now they are going to turn it into, to do it the negative way. They want to get money through illegal means. Yes, that is what will happen.
Wow. Yeah. The other day we saw the Deputy President Uhuru Kenyatta, or rather, sorry, the Deputy President, His Excellency William Ruto, talking about and reacting, about the fuel prices. And he talked about an urgent meeting, and we haven't seen that meeting. Before then, let's listen to that clip.
Tuko katika hali ngumu katika taifa letu la Kenya. Bei ya mafuta ndio hiyo imefika 135. Mimi nataka niwaulize wale walipatiwa majukumu na rais, subcommittee ya cabinet ya serikali yetu, waketi chini kwa njia ya dharura, watoe advice, ndio tujue tunaenda vipi, ndio tupunguze haya mambo ambayo yanazidi kuwagandamiza wa Kenya. Kamati pia ya bunge ya mambo ya energy, waketi chini pamoja na waziri, watueleze na waeleze Kenya na watoe advice kwa serikali ili tuchukue hatua ambazo itasaidia wa Kenya kupunguza hali hii ya kuongezeka kwa mafuta ya petroli, ambayo itaongeza yale mambo mengine mengi na kuleta hali ya maisha kupanda gharama katika taifa letu la Kenya. And everybody, there are people who have been assigned responsibilities by the president. It is time for them now to assume those responsibilities, provide advice to government so that the right decisions can be made to manage the current situation where the prices of fuel are going up, and the relevant committee of parliament must also summon an urgent meeting, work with the ministry to make sure that we manage this situation that is rolling out of hand because of the current situation in the nation. Tunataka tushirikiane pamoja, tutafute suluhu ili tuweze kwenda pamoja na kupunguza hii hali ambayo iko katika taifa letu la Kenya.
Oh, that was the President, Uhuru Kenyatta. So far, Deputy President, rather, I beg your pardon. That was the Deputy President, William Ruto. And he said back then that an urgent meeting should happen. It has not happened yet. Mr. Kamau, what do you think is happening? Or is it still to happen because he has said an urgent meeting? You know, something urgent is something that's supposed to be done by now.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay, he called for an urgent meeting, but he didn't specify who are there to meet and all that. But I've seen the Senate through the Energy Committee chairman, that is Nyeri Senator Ephraim Maina. He's saying that they are going to push Parliament, that is the National Assembly, so that they can sit down and review the pricing of the fuel.
That's right. That's 3 days ago.
Yes. But also Parliament, also the same Senate also called for the Petroleum Ministry CS, Peter Munyes, but he snapped their meeting. But I understand he was out of the country. But mostly it is only the National Assembly that can be able to come up with regulations on how the price of the fuel is going to be regulated, because now those are the policy makers. So that is why I had stated earlier that we need policies so that we can be able to regulate the pricing of fuel. It is only the same Parliament which passed that law to put VAT on the fuel. It is the same Parliament that will have now to come up with policies so that now they can be able to lower the prices of fuel, so that now the common mwananchi can have at least to have that sigh of relief from the high prices. Yes.
Do you think they are taking it with the seriousness it deserves? Because it's been over a week now, nothing has happened yet.
Talking of they are politicians. And of course, they are in that game to play politics. But of course, not all of them. If we have the right people in the National Assembly, they should have done something by now. They should have sat up and come up with policies, and also to see how they are going to review the prices of this fuel. Because if they can sit down and come up with maybe the implementation of the stabilization fund, the fuel stabilization fund, which was implemented, I saw there is some concerns about its operations. If it is put into full use, at least we are going to see that the fuel prices will go a bit down. And also in Kenya, at least we are a bit well off. If you look at the Eastern African countries, fuel prices in Tanzania, in Uganda is also a bit high. So this is also brought by maybe the fuel prices, the market fuel prices of the barrel of where the fuel producing countries. We also have the deficits in the balance of payments. So there are so many factors that bring about the prices of fuel. But we are hoping that Parliament is going to sit down and come up with policies to review the prices, to review down the prices of fuel. Yes.
Let's hope this is going to happen and pretty soon.
Yes.
Because as we have listened to the Kenyans talking, some of them are really in it's really becoming hard for them. Thank you so much for coming and to our business show. We hope to actually host you another time, and we hope you will honor that invitation as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was Kamau right here talking about the effect of the economy on fuel increased prices in Kenya. Thank you so much for choosing DGTV and for choosing to watch Money Monday. See you next Monday, same time, same place. Remember, our social media platforms are Facebook, DGTV Kenya, on YouTube, DGTV Kenya, on Twitter, at DGTV KE. The SMS line to use is 0791 300 105. Do have a lovely day and God bless you.